Hey, welcome back to Lee Writing and Pronunciation on YouTube. In this video, we're going to do another screenplay tutorial. This is about characters who speak other languages. Now, we've all seen movies where, it's mostly in English, let's say, but then there's these characters who might speak another language, their native language, like Italian. If you watch The Godfather, for example. They speak English, but then there's scenes where they're speaking Italian because that's their native language. And when they speak it, just so we understand what they're saying, you'll see subtitles on the bottom that are written in English. We've seen countless examples of that before. And then sometimes they might speak, Italian or another language, and there are no subtitles. It's just a different language, just to make it more authentic. Not to let the audience know what they're saying, just to let the characters reminisce. Maybe it's a conversation that's not important, and the director just wants the other language spoken without us knowing what they're saying. So there would be no subtitles. There's all sorts of scenarios. So in this tutorial, I'm going to go over how to write this dialogue so it has subtitles and another way so it doesn't have subtitles. So I'm gonna cover both. All right, so I set up a little scene here. Brody's bar. The Italian bartender, 60, mixes drinks behind the counter. The corded telephone rings. He approaches the phone and answers. Okay, just something off the top of my head. Okay, and I'm using Final Draft. You may or may not be using this, so you can just get the idea. So the character's name would be bartender, and okay, let's say we want him to speak Italian and then have his dialogue translated into subtitles, English subtitles. So what we would do is put in parentheses, see, Final Draft lets you choose it, subtitle, boom, like that. So you put character name with subtitle in parentheses next to it. And then as a parenthetical, we'll want to indicate what language the person's speaking. So tab in Italian. Okay? So bartender, subtitle in Italian. That will mean that means any text that I type now will show up on the screen in a movie as subtitles of the Italian language. Well, translated from the Italian language. They're speaking Italian. The subtitles are in English. That's what I meant. So, hello, who is this? So if this were a movie, you would hear the bartender saying this in Italian, but then the text on the bottom of the screen would actually be written like this. Hello, who is this? So we would see the English of this as subtitles while we hear the Italian version of this. That's what this would indicate. Then there listens. And then, same thing, subtitle. Oh, sorry. In Italian. Oh, hey, you. Where have you been? Oh. Where have you been? Have you been? Something off the top of my head. All right. So you get the idea. And then, of course, Final Draft adds the continued because it's the same character, talking, so they do continued. Okay, so that's if you want the subtitle on the screen in English while the character is speaking another language. Now, if you wanted to take away the subtitles and just have the character speaking in their language, it's simple. You take away this. Take away the subtitle, and just have it like that. Leave the in Italian if they're speaking Italian. So, in Italian, that way we don't see the subtitle text, we just hear the Italian language. Of course, if you don't speak Italian, you won't know what they're saying, but maybe in some cases you might want it to be like that. I don't know. Usually if it's a character who's not really important, like an extra who might have like one line of dialogue, the director might not want to subtitle that because it's insignificant. That kind of thing. If it's a main character speaking their language, then it would be subtitled. All right, so that's that. What else? Oh yeah, also, if you know the language, let's say you really do know Italian, and you don't want to do it like this, because obviously I'm writing this in English and indicating that it's supposed to be Italian. This is what you do if you're a writer who doesn't know the language that's being spoken. You have to put in the language and then write the English. But if you know the language, you don't have to put the parenthetical. You can just write the language here. Just write I don't know Italian, so I can't show you the example, but you could write the actual Italian text here and not use the parenthetical. However, if you want it to be subtitled, you'd still have to put that. So that would be, okay, the subtitle in English of this. Now, if this is written in Italian, the subtitle will still be written in English. This is only so you don't have to put the parenthetical. If you write out the actual language, you don't have to put the parenthetical. So that's all that means. Okay, so that's that. I think that about covers it. Yeah, so there you go. Subtitle, parenthetical, if you don't know the language. Subtitle, no parenthetical if you do know the language and you want to write it in. And of course, if you don't want a subtitle, take away the subtitle. Like, let's say you know the language and you don't want a subtitle, well then just put the character's name and then write the language, or write the dialogue in the language. You don't need to put anything if you know the language and you don't want subtitles. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you would take that out and just write it in Italian. Yeah. Actually, I think I have an example of Spanish. I pasted it before. Yeah, si senor. So, like, let's say we want to make this a Spanish bartender. Spanish bartender. Okay, so si senor. So I wouldn't have to put in Spanish or anything like that because it's written. It's written in Spanish. Oh, I take that out. So if you're writing Spanish, like this means yes, sir. So you don't have to put anything. Or if you want it subtitled, just do that. So it would be subtitled as yes, sir, even though you wrote si, senor. But let's say you don't know Spanish, then you'd put yes, sir, and then in Spanish, like that. See what I mean? But of course, the character would say si, senor. I think you get the idea. Alright, so that's how you do the subtitles and other language things in screenplays. So subscribe, and we'll keep this channel going. Laters.